Hey Cowboys Nation, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into today's hot topic, I want to remind everyone that the Cowboys are constantly striving to improve and get better results on the field. The journey can be tough, but with your support, we keep pushing forward. So hit that like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and let's get into the big news that's been shaking up the NFL rumor mill. The Dallas Cowboys have been a hot topic of conversation recently, and unfortunately, not for the right reasons. After a promising offseason, things have not gone according to plan, with a devastating 47-9 loss to the Detroit Lions being the latest low point in what has been a rough start to the 2024 NFL season. Now, the whispers around Dallas are growing louder. Is Mike McCarthy on the hot seat? And could Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches of all time, be the man to take over? Let's start with the rumors that have really caught everyone's attention. As the Cowboys struggle to find consistency, the future of head coach Mike McCarthy is being questioned more than ever. With each loss, the pressure mounts, and it's not just the fans who are feeling it. Ownership is reportedly becoming restless as well. Enter Bill Belichick, the legendary head coach of the New England Patriots. Belichick's name has been swirling in recent speculation as a potential candidate to replace McCarthy. While he's still focused on his duties in New England, some of his recent comments on the Cowboys have only fueled the fire of these rumors. Belichick appeared on the Let's Go podcast hosted by Tom Brady and Jim Gray, where he discussed the Cowboys' struggles. While sympathizing with the Cowboys' ownership, Belichick made some interesting comments that many are interpreting as a subtle hint that he could be interested in a change of scenery. Speaking about Dallas' tough start, Belichick said, "Certainly looks like a tough situation down there in Dallas. I'm sure the owners are very frustrated, not just with the season start, but how last season ended as well." This comment has many believing that Belichick is paying close attention to the Cowboys situation. Let's not forget, Mike McCarthy was hired to lead this team to the promised land. After a strong regular season in 2023, there were high expectations heading into 2024. But after last year's playoff collapse and the team's rocky start this season, McCarthy's future with the Cowboys is looking more uncertain by the day. It's no secret that Jerry Jones and the Cowboys ownership group expect results and fast. McCarthy's tenure has been filled with ups and downs, but in the NFL, it's all about winning when it matters most. The Cowboys' early struggles, particularly on offense and defense, have raised major concerns about whether McCarthy is the right coach to take this team forward. Adding to the tension, McCarthy's game management and play calling have been questioned multiple times this season, leading to growing frustration among fans and media. Could Jerry Jones and the Cowboys be looking for a change at the top if things don't turn around quickly? It's certainly a possibility. Now, why would Belichick be such an intriguing fit for the Cowboys? Let's break it down. Bill Belichick is, without question, one of the most successful and respected coaches in NFL history. His track record with the Patriots, 6 Super Bowl titles, countless playoff appearances, and a culture of discipline and excellence is something every NFL franchise dreams of. So, why wouldn't the Cowboys be interested? For one, Dallas is a storied franchise with an immense fan base and the resources to bring in the best talent. For someone like Belichick, who has always embraced a challenge, the opportunity to restore glory to America's team could be a perfect next chapter in his Hall of Fame career. The idea of pairing Belichick's defensive genius with the Cowboys' star-studded roster, including talents like Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, and Dak Prescott, would be tantalizing for any fan. While the Patriots have been struggling in recent seasons, many believe that a new challenge, especially with a franchise like the Cowboys, could reinvigorate Belichick. But there's more to it. Belichick's comments, while measured, did leave the door open for speculation. He praised the Cowboys' ownership for their efforts in building a strong roster, and although he complimented McCarthy's coaching abilities, he seemed to hint that changes could be necessary. These rumors aren't just coming from thin air. NFL insiders have also been buzzing about the possibility of Belichick heading to Dallas. Fox Sports' Jordan Schultz recently reported that there have been increasing conversations around the league about Belichick potentially moving on from New England and finding a new home. The combination of one of the league's most successful coaches and one of its most high-profile franchises is hard to ignore. While it's far from a done deal, the idea of Bill Belichick coaching the Cowboys is gaining momentum as Dallas' disappointing season unfolds. And it's not just the coaching staff under scrutiny. Legendary Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman has also shared his thoughts on the team's struggles, particularly criticizing the wide receivers. Appearing on 96.7 The Ticket, Aikman did not hold back in his assessment, calling out the poor route running by the team's receivers, including star wideout C.D. Lamb. Aikman said, "I think the routes are terrible. I've thought that beyond this year. I think C.D. has to get better in his route running." He didn't stop there, noting that poor route running is making it difficult for Dak Prescott to trust where his receivers are going to be, which only adds to the offensive woes. Coming from a Hall of Famer like Aikman, these are harsh words, but they reflect what many fans are feeling. The Cowboys' offense, which was supposed to be explosive, has been inconsistent, and part of that is due to the lackluster performance from the receiving corps. So, Cowboys Nation, what does all of this mean? Is Bill Belichick really the answer to turning this team around? Or does Mike McCarthy deserve more time to right the ship? And what about the receivers? Can they step up and help Dak lead this offense? One thing's for sure, the pressure is on. The Cowboys have too much talent to be struggling like this. And with the season already at a critical point, something has to change. Whether that's bringing in a new coach, improving the play from key positions, or finding a way to address the issues within the team, Cowboys fans are hoping for answers sooner rather than later. There's been a lot of chatter about whether the Cowboys should embrace the idea of selling some of their key pieces and focusing on a soft rebuild. Let's face it, the team isn't looking as sharp as we all hoped. The front office has already hinted at this being somewhat of a transition year, especially when you consider they ranked 32nd in free agency spending. Jerry Jones himself has been quick to snap at reporters when asked about roster construction, a clear sign that the pressure is mounting. If the team is serious about looking ahead to the future, now might be the time to make some tough decisions and trade away valuable assets while they still can. 1. DTOSA Odigizwa, the big trade chip. First on the list of potential trade candidates is OSA Odigizwa. Now, this one might surprise some of you, and I get it. Why trade a solid defensive tackle when we need help on the defensive line? But hear me out. OSA has been playing at a high level, and he's entering free agency in 2025. The Cowboys have a big decision to make, especially with Micah Parsons on deck for a huge payday soon. If the front office is willing to accept that this might not be the year we contend for a championship, trading Odigizwa could be a smart move. He's not quite at the top tier of defensive tackles, but he's close enough that teams in need of defensive line help might be willing to give up a lot for him. This would be a classic sell-high scenario. Of course, trading OSA would leave a big hole on the defense, and let's be real, it would be a clear signal that the Cowboys are more focused on the future than trying to compete this season. But the return could be worth it, giving Dallas more draft capital to build a stronger roster down the road. 2. L.B. Damone Clark, undervalued and underused. Next up is Damone Clark, a player who's been in a strange spot this season. Last year, Clark started 17 games and played a key role at linebacker. He's a smart, physical player who knows the defense well. But this season, Clark has been pushed to the bench, and it doesn't look like the Cowboys are planning to use him much going forward. This is where other teams might step in. Clark could be valuable to teams in need of linebacker help. And although he probably wouldn't bring back more than a late-round draft pick, the Cowboys should consider it. Why keep a guy on the bench when he could bring back some value in a trade? If the Cowboys aren't going to give him the playing time he deserves, it might be better to let him go somewhere else where he can contribute more. 3. S. Marquise Bell, a hybrid asset. Speaking of underused talent, Marquise Bell is another player who could generate some interest on the trade market. Bell's situation is a bit different. He was a standout last season when playing as a hybrid safety linebacker, but after some coaching changes and new additions, he's found himself on the bench. Bell was one of the top coverage defenders in the league when he was playing as a linebacker, and in today's NFL, hybrid players are highly valued. Teams are always looking for versatile defenders who can play multiple roles, and Bell fits that mold perfectly. While the Cowboys don't seem to have a place for him in their defense right now, other teams could see him as a useful piece for their secondary or linebacker rotation. Like Clark, Bell probably wouldn't fetch a high return, maybe a late-round pick, but it's still something to consider as the Cowboys evaluate their options. 4. Wanya Thomas, special team standout. Then there's Wanya Thomas, a player who's shown a lot of promise, but just hasn't been able to crack the starting lineup on defense. Thomas has been a special teams ace this season, playing 82% of the team snaps on special teams, but he's only managed to see the field for 7% of the defensive snaps in 2024. Thomas has a lot of potential, and it's not hard to imagine a team looking for depth in the secondary making a move for him. He's a young player with room to grow, and while the Cowboys haven't given him much of a chance on defense, another team might see him as a solid backup or even a future starter. 5. QB Trey Lance, a wild card trade option. Finally, we got Trey Lance, and I know some of you might be wondering if he's even worth discussing here, but let's not forget, the Cowboys traded for Lance not too long ago, and while he hasn't played much, the potential is still there. He's a former top draft pick with a big arm and the ability to make plays with his legs. There are teams out there dealing with quarterback injuries or who might be looking for a young, developmental QB to take a chance on. Lance could be that guy. He's clearly not ready to take over in Dallas, but a team with fewer QB options might be willing to roll the dice on him. Would Lance bring back a huge return in a trade? Probably not. But for a team looking to stockpile draft picks and rebuild, even getting a mid-round pick for Lance could be seen as a win. Now it's your turn. Do you think Bill Belichick would be a good fit for the Cowboys? Should Mike McCarthy be given more time to figure things out? Or is it time for Jerry Jones to make a bold move? And what do you think about Troy Aikman's criticism of the wide receivers? Is it fair? Or is there more to the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think. And before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Cowboys news and updates. We've got a lot more to talk about this season, and you won't want to miss any of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, Cowboys Nation.